good for you? We need to get a register book set. Go on the side and get another. Rodney. We have benches on the back there.
Outstanding. Thank you, though.
Stay where you're at. Gentlemen?
Can I ask you maybe to stand?
Right where that goes. Test 1, 2. Testing. Testing one. Testing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to begin this service. We have programs that we will be passing out. There is a register book to sign. It'll be out during and after the service. Because of the fact that today's the first day to do services after the end of Sukkot, there are several services here, so we will immediately, upon putting the casket on the grave, the U.S. Marine Corps will be doing honors, and then the casket will be immediately lowered. The cover will be put on, and everyone will have an opportunity to put some earth on, and the burial will be completed so that the cemetery workers can go to the next burial. And then the rabbi will be doing the service during this time and then after the service. The service is going to be conducted by Rabbi Barry Schechter. Can I ask the family at this time to please come under the tent and be seated? Pallbearers, please come up to the hearse. Jeremy Chapnick, Samantha Chapnick, Sarah Chapnick, Joshua Chapnick, Jessica Chapnick, and Dennis Knight. Pallbearers, please go to the back of the hearse. Also, if you're near any stones that are leaning, please do not stand near those stones. Mourners that are the siblings, you and your two sons. So we're going to back the casket out. You'll reach under the flag and you'll grab onto the hem. The flag is a rubber band down the hip. You step all the way in, face into the hearse, grab onto the hem. All the way in, face into the hearse. Please turn your cell phones to silent mode. Thank you, pallbearers. Please make your way with your family. Rodney and Terry, if you're here, please come and be seated up front.
Please rise.
You may be seated.
David. Adonai mi Yaakov Yalecha, mi yishkom behar kodshecha, kol echtamim, u'kol tzedek, v'rover emet birbavo, lo regale leshono, lo asa l're'ehu ra, v'cherep lo nasa. Al Kerovo Nivzevin Avnimas Betirei Adonai Echabed Nishpalara V'lo Yamir Aspo Nonatam Ben Neshech V'sholcha Anakilo Lakos Al Seile Lo Yimot God, who may abide in your house, who may dwell in your holy mountain, those who are upright, who do justly, who speak the truth within their hearts, who do not slander others or wrong them or bring shame upon them, who give their word and come what may do not retract, who do not exploit others, those who live in this way shall never be shaken. Dear friends, we're here for a sad and difficult occasion to say goodbye, which is one of the most difficult things that we can ever do, but also to pay tribute and to honor the memory, and even if possible, to celebrate the life of Burton, Burt Chapnick, the son of William and Zelda Baruch Ben Chaim Zev Wolf of Zelda, who's gone to his eternal rest and leaves behind a family and friends. Look at everyone here, who loved him very, very dearly and whom he loved. His wife, his life's partner, Wendy, married 57 years. His children, his sons, Michael and Susan, Alan and his Phyllis. Grandchildren, Jeremy and his Clifford, Samantha, Sarah, Joshua, and Jessica, and brother Rodney and his Belinda, and sister Terry, Dr. Terry, and her husband Stephen, Dr. Stephen. I understand, yes. So we'll pause just a little bit. They're going to place the cover on the casket.
and gentlemen, we're going to ask the family at this time to put some earth into the grave, and then everyone else will have an opportunity to do so. And then the grave will be filled in, and then we will continue with the service. Please, family, come up forward. And normally would place 3 shovelfuls. Some people do the first shovel upside down, and then don't pass the shovel, rather pass it from one person to the next. Excuse me, place it down so that everyone can do it by themselves. Do not pass it from one person to the next. No, anybody. There's probably this has got a shorter line if you want to come up.
Yeah, let's go this way.
I'd say where you're at. I'm just thinking all the.
Do I keep the first one for now? Or is that
It's up to the first shovel. A lot of people twist it and turn it upside down.
why's that?
It's basically a custom where you're not making it easy for yourself to do it.
Okay, cool.
And then the next two you do by the regular way, and then you set it down because it's considered a mitzvah, which means it can be even weight. By passing it, you're taking away part of it.
First when you turn, I set it down.
Just put it in the earth or set it down either way.
Thank you. Do you?
A lot of times people will turn it upside down. Looking at the makes it a little bit. The next door, then you set it.
Careful, ma'am.
Yeah, I know.
There's a little way close to go, or no? We need to talk, right?
Apparently not.
Take your time, no problem. Take your time, no problem. need.
We don't
Up
need
to the family.
themselves, so you can take the process if you want.
Sorry.
Where's the boot?
We had a flask.
What's the road with you guys? What's the road with you guys? Oh, I said there's a road with you. Have I done with you? You guys know how to party. You guys know how to party.
Friends, gotta have your attention, please. You just recited the Tillim Tesvav, the 15th chapter of Psalms, which really could have been written for him. We'll talk about that in a minute. We're going to hear the family going to speak to us about Burt. And we're going to begin with Michael, who'll come up and speak to us. You lost it? Found it.
Okay, well, first I want to thank everyone for coming out here, including the Zoom people, I guess.
There's 9 devices signed in at the moment, so you've probably got another 20 to 30 people.
So thank you everybody for joining us here.
Rabbi.
We all knew my father or the family, but I'm going to send them off real quick. I need everybody to help me out with this one. Okay, so I've spent months trying to figure out what I was going to say here. As I, spent a lot of days with my dad, kind of this final year. And every time I sat down to try to figure out what I was going to write, it was just a bunch of rambling thoughts. And it really wasn't until yesterday, when I was driving home, that I kind of realized that that's exactly what my dad would have wanted. His speeches were legendary, they were never to the point. So basically, that's kind of why I'm lost at this right now. So where do I begin? And I kind of thought of one story that I think is one of my clearest moments in my life, and kind of describes my dad the best. And I think it was about 1978. And times were tough in our family, and my mom and my dad had a pretty big fight. And my dad decided to leave the house. And for those of you who don't know where we live on Potter Road, and he walked all the way to the Edens, to the Midas station, which was probably about 2.5 hours, about 6 miles. And I remember him actually calling my mom and saying he's sorry and asked her to come pick him up. and that was actually the last time I heard my dad ever angry. 40 years ago, it's the only time I ever saw him since then be upset. I think most of you guys know how easygoing he was. So I'm going to move on and just let you know we watched a lot of TV. And as I go around in circles in my speech, his favorite show was MASH, and you'll understand at the end why I bring this up. My dad loved his grandkids. I know he was an inspiration to all of them. He was kind. He was always there for them, even if it meant calling him at 4:30 in the morning to pick him up at the airport. He was always there no matter what they needed. My dad was a role model to my brother and me, and how he was loving and caring husband to my mom. He was awesome to her, and there's nothing he wouldn't do for her. He even let her talk to everyone, even when he tried to call him. So Dad, I have to leave you with an answer to the question you've always wanted to know. Where did religion start? Well, according to Google, organized religion traces back to its roots of a Neolithic revolution that began 11,000 years ago in the Near East, but may have occurred independently in several other locations around the world. So, Dad, you have your answer now. Rest in peace. You have no more pain. And for your MASH fans out there,
Thank you, Michael. And now we're going to hear from Alan, accompanied by Phyllis and Joshua and Jessica.
First of all, Burt has quite a following. But yeah, thanks for everybody to come out. But I was thinking of what my dad did for us. So as of many of you already know, as many of you already know, my father was always a hard worker, sometimes working 3 jobs at once. In the early days, I remember my dad dressing up in garbage bags to go on a cold bus stop to go to work off of Western Avenue because it was very cold and he didn't have the luxury of having a car to keep warm. He had a lot of integrity, so that's where I guess integrity was important to my dad. He had a lot of integrity. He also worked very long days and did not spend a lot of time with him during the week because he wouldn't get home till much late at night. And when I was younger, I would fall asleep early, so I was always falling asleep in my dinner. So I don't know if my mom remembers that, where I just didn't stay. I was sleeping early, but I was an early riser. So we spent time with him on the weekends. Even though he might have been tired on the weekends, he always found that time to spend with us. We would frequently do all the yummy, unhealthy places to eat. He also drove us through bad neighborhoods in order to teach us life lessons, including the time he drove us to the Joliet State Prison and said, you don't want to live on the opposite side of those walls. He was a simple man with a big heart. With a big heart. But thank you for being a wonderful father and grandfather. I will always love and remember you. May you rest in peace.
You can say something really slow.
I just wanted also to thank Burt. He was always a wonderful father-in-law, and after my dad passed away 6 years ago, he really stepped in, and he was always like a father to me, and he was always wonderful with the grandchildren, and he was always funny and easygoing, and then his qualities were amazing, and Al has all those qualities. So I'm really, really thankful that I had him in my life.
Thank you. And now we will have Jeremy, Sammy, and Sarah. I think, is that right? Yes.
Hi everyone. I also want to thank you all for coming. My grandpa was really special to me. He was someone I could count on for everything. Basically anything. He was there with me, standing by my side, supporting any decision that I made without any judgment. He was definitely the nicest person that I knew. He didn't have a single mean bone in his body. He was always there to celebrate and support me, whether it was my birthday, parties, dinner events, graduations, or important moments in life. He was probably one of the most progressive people that I knew in my life, and the world is certainly a little bit darker after his passing. I will always remember how amazing it was to spend the summer at their place while attending my Chinese lessons, sitting in their backyard, having sodas together, and driving, albeit very slowly, to the train station every day. And getting picked up. I love taking them to dinners and enjoying new cuisines. He was always curious about new cultures and willing to learn more about things that he didn't quite understand or know much about. He was also a great teacher. Any times I had questions about the past or history or Judaism, his life, or just how things were, he would love to talk endlessly about them, and I was always so interested to hear more. There's one piece of advice that he gave me that I still use and remember to this day. He told me, if you're ever lost, just stay put. Someone will find you eventually. It's better to just stay in one spot instead of roaming around. And that was so true to his personality, you know, just kind of sit around and things kind of sorted out. And I found that that really spoke to me. And I still follow that to this day. No matter the time or day or whatever was happening, he would always be willing to talk and talk about whatever it was. The past 3 years have been extremely difficult not being able to visit him in person. And I really wish I had more time to actually see him. But I think we ended up closer through long distance. We had our weekly Skype conversations where we just got to sit and talk and enjoy each other's company until the late night. He was always so genuinely curious about what was going on in my life, my friends, and what I was doing. Whenever I visited or chatted with him on Skype, he always that I will always remember, and he would always say the same thing. He would say, "Jeremy," with his big smile. I will always remember that it was the same exact thing that he did when he first saw me, when I surprised him with my visit in the hospital. But he was such a goofball, and I think that's what we will all remember him the most for. He had such an upbeat attitude and didn't take life and things so seriously. I think his outlook on life is something that I will carry with me forever. I think we'll all miss his oddly timed perverted jokes, his silly comments on Facebook, or his boob adventure stories in the military, or his long-winded stories that led to nowhere with a 70% chance of rain of food from his mouth, his slow driving, and his infamous Burt sounds. May you rest in peace, Grandpa. I love you.
All right, hi everyone. I was hoping you'd all greet me back like an AA meeting, since that's where I'll be after getting cocksock stinko this entire grieving process. It's gonna be hard to beat my original letter I wrote to Grandpa when I was 7 years old, where I called him firm-statured. I didn't bring any snacks to eat while giving this speech, so you'll just have to use your imagination when it comes to honoring Grandpa's habit of talking with his mouth full. I sure am going to miss yelling, "Grandpa, finish chewing," 400 times a night, though. My grandpa was a simple man. He enjoyed the little things in life, well, with the exception of boobies, clearly. If you ever had a conversation with my grandpa, you knew he'd bring up boobs whenever he got the chance, so it only feels right bringing them up right now. He loved them so much that his own family was chanting, "Boobs, boobies," to get him to wake up in the hospital when we were last visiting him. But now that I'm thinking about it, maybe we should have asked him and said, "Where did religion start?" No, but in all seriousness, I'm so grateful to have had such an amazing and supportive grandpa. He was always there for everyone. I will forever wish we all had more time to spend with him, but for now, I will end this speech with an imaginary cheers of a vodka lemonade.
There's so many things that I could say to explain how much of a wonderful person my grandfather was. But seeing all the people here today proves that alone. My grandpa was such a kind and selfless person. I mean, come on, he helped roll silverware at Wildfire, and that's one of the most selfless things that you could do for anyone. He also helped me with all my history projects, came to support me at all my sporting events, always had great advice, and most of all, loved me unconditionally. I'm so lucky that I've been able to have such an amazing relationship with my grandparents. I grew up getting to see them every weekend, from family dinners at our house, plus holidays and other exciting gatherings. I wish that those days could never end, but I always will feel grateful for what amazing times that I did have with my grandpa. I will miss him so incredibly much, and I know you all will too. I'm just happy to see how many people he was important to and how many amazing people got to experience his amazing and wonderful personality.
Grab it.
Oh!
That was his way of saying thank you.
He said, "Don't talk shit while we rolling silverware."
It's the most resounding applause I've ever seen. Oh, I beg your pardon. I'm sorry.
I live in the shadows too.
Burt, I don't think I have ever met a man who has been as open-minded and non-judgmental as Burt. No matter your color, race, or religion, he has always sought to understand. He stood in the shadows, yet everyone knew him. Everyone loved him. He was caring, loving, and always had time to listen. His family was his little flock. It gave him great joy seeing his sons succeed and bring forth grandchildren. He always made time for them. His time was dedicated doing for his family and others. He was selfless. He was silent and never expected others to gratify, praise, or exonerate him. He was a true humble spirit. His smile was infectious, those dimples adorable. He said nothing bothered him and gave his all the time. He never complained, he listened, he loved and protected. Never complained. Maybe an occasional, oi, Wendada. He served his country with all he had. He was a dedicated husband who put his wife above all, never once putting his needs first. He is and always will be a Marine, Semper Fi, always faithful.
Josh, grandson. I remember during bar mitzvah training, I remember during bar mitzvah training, we would always get food before, and as many of you know, I hate being late, and we would always finish a lot earlier than I would expect, and we would sit in a parking lot, and we would just look, and then he would just look at me and say, "What are we doing here? A bunch of dillweeds." I learned from him that happy wife, happy life, and just as my uncle did before, we're gonna do it again. We say his name. Burt.
Well, friends, there's just a few things I'd like to add to what was said. I understand his license plate was Schlep 1. He was someone, as you heard, who worked very hard to support his family, regardless of the circumstances. But there was something else that you told me when we spoke, Michael and Alan. You said that he took into the house many, many people who needed to come in. Friends, family members, who needed a place for some reason. And when you started listing the people, I was wondering how large exactly is your house, or was your house? Sorry? Not at all, but for somehow, listen, so exactly, you made room for all these people who needed to come in, which is really wonderful. You're coming to a wonderful inheritance. You talked about the origin of religion. Well, as far as ours is concerned, the first Jewish person was Avraham Avinu, Abraham. And we're told, not in the Torah, it doesn't say it in the Bible, but in the Midrash, we're told that his tent in the wilderness, he made sure that from any part of the tent, the outside was visible. You know why? He was afraid that he might miss a passerby, and he wanted to invite them all in. This hachnasat orchim, this hospitality, this wanting to bring people in, people who needed shelter, who needed a home, who needed something. And so in that sense, never mind the origin of religion generally, I don't know too much about
my personal Neolithic ancestors. That was a joke. But I know that we all have one ancestor, and that is Abraham. And he left us a wonderful inheritance, a wonderful legacy. And he, and you as well, come into that inheritance. Because that's something very, very beautiful. And as you said on his life, that he was concerned with others. We live in a world now which is so full of egotists, of people who are not only selfish but boast of it. I mean, if you read the newspapers, go online, one is almost embarrassed for the world. One's almost embarrassed for humanity. And then you have someone like Burt, who gives us hope for humanity, because there is a decency and something wonderful in his spirit. And we think to ourselves, the world would be a better place if there were more people like him. And there's no one who can doubt that. And there can be no higher praise. There can be no higher praise of anyone than to say, more people like Burt would make the world a better place. There's no possible, you cannot give higher praise. You cannot give higher praise than that. I know that you met, I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, that Wendy, you and he met, is it through Ina? Ina, were you the Shadchanter? You were, yes. It's a great mitzvah, by the way. You've earned your place in the world to come for that. That's right. Now, apparently, both your fathers worked together, right? They were painters, decorators. They both worked together. They knew each other. I don't know how well they got along, but you could tell stories. Yes, this may not be the exact time for those stories. They did get along. That's a relief. They get along. Good. Let's leave it at that then. You can give the details later on. And so all of these things you've told, these details, but they all boil down to the thing that each of you said in your own way again and again and again. This selflessness. Also, I forget which one of you said about his smile when he greeted you. Who was it? You and you. No, it's obvious for everyone. You know, Shammai said, and he was a man who, according to tradition, didn't have such a good temper. But he said to be Mekabil Kol Adam B'Sever Panim Yafot, receive everyone with a smile, with a cheerful face. And we all know that if you're low in spirits, if things are not good and you're worried, and someone greets you and smiles at you, and talks to you and takes you in, lifts your spirit. That's the most wonderful thing. And that was him as well. Apart from that little 2.5 hour walk to the Eden's Expressway, but you brought him back. So anyway, we're honoring him today, not just because of what we're saying, but just the sheer numbers here. The sheer numbers say something about this lovely, lovely man that we were all honored. Alas, not me. I may have met him once. But you were all honored to know. And someone who, as I said, really raises our hopes, literally, for humanity. May his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. That's what I say of him, and to him I say, Burt, Baruch, and Chaim ze Wolf Zelda. Lech b'shalom, gay in Frieden, go in peace. Of Alechtig Gan Eden, may you repose me in paradise, you'll never be forgotten. You'll always be remembered in love by those, so many, who knew you and loved you, and those who knew you and you loved. Amen. We're going to read the 23rd Psalm. Do you have it in these little booklets? Would you read with me, please? Psalm 23, together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I need to go to those of you who are wearing the ribbons or have a tear, or going to have a tear. So if it's possible for you to stand, please stand. If not, stay seated and I will come to you. Terry. Okay, excuse me. Those people, excuse me, those who are, who have the, well, I beg your pardon. Now, those of you whose ribbons I've just cut, will you say this bracha? If you want to stand, please. If you're standing, remain standing. Say the bracha with me. It begins the way every bracha begins. If you know it, it's Baruch Atah, etc. So I'll say in Ashkenazic Hebrew. Might be easier. So say it with me. I'll give you the last two words. So let us go. It's not in there. Baruch Atah Elo Dayan Ha'emes. Amen. Don't you say Amen? Ilmali Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hametzei Menuchan Echona Tachat Kanafei Ashina B'mahalot Kedashim Otorim Kezohar Harakiav Masirim Et Nishmat Baruch Ben Chaim Zeval Fazelle Shalach Leolamo Pavor Shadnach Nodrim Nitztaka V'yad Azkarat Nishmato Began Eden Tehei Menuchato Lachein Balarachamim Yastireu B'seit Kanafav Leolamim V'yitzror Rachem et Nishmato Adonai hu nachalato V'yanuach b'shalom al mishkavo V'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, Eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure who shine as the brightness of the firmament. Unto the soul of Burt Chapnick, the son of William and Zelda, who has ended eternity and in whose memory we offer charity. May his repose be in paradise. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence. And let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. And now we will conclude with the Kaddish, the Monas Kaddish, which you have there. I will say it with you. And anyone can respond, even if you don't join in the Kaddish, you can respond. When we say the Imru, you say Amen. If you know the other responses, please do those as well. Yid Gadal, V'yid Kadash, Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'alma divra chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yamechon, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. והגלה בזמן קריב, ואמרו, everyone, אמן. יהי שמי רבה, וברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריך הוא. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו
אמן.
אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the family, I want to thank everybody for coming. The family's inviting everyone back for a meal of condolence at Wildfire Restaurant in Glenview. The information's in the pamphlet. And
Yes, we can actually.
ladies and gentlemen, what I'd like to ask everybody to do is to form two lines, and not other than the immediate family that's wearing the ribbons. This is called a shura. And so I'll kind of guide you. I think what we should do is move in this direction.
Just have, yes, half on this one side, half on the other side, and then the family can walk, the family who's wearing the ribbons can walk in between, and we can wish them, we can give them our good wishes as they walk in between.
Wendy? There's still 7 people on here. Would you like to just thank them for coming here? Go ahead and
Thank you.
just say thank you. We don't know who's on, but just say
Oh.
thank you. You
Oh,
can
just say,
talk.
thank you so very, very much, all of you. I will never, ever forget this. My husband had such a wonderful group of people, and they showed up. I would tell you, it's so overwhelming for me. Thank you so much.
Michael, Alan, do you want to say anything? Before I
I think I said everything I was going to say.
thanks
for everybody who
for
was-
being here for our family.
Yeah.
Yes,
Beautiful.